Okay, how's it going, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Okay, well, so in today's episode, I thought I'd try to say something about the psychologist Erich Fromm and why it is he thinks we tend to submit to forms of authority, including authoritarianism. I can't think of a more relevant thinker given what's going on all around the world today. And here I'm referring to his seminal work, Escape from Freedom. Okay, so Fromm's great insight in that work is that most people, even though they might say otherwise, they don't really want to be free, in the sense of exercising a positive freedom, a freedom to manifest their individual potentialities and take responsibility for their direction in life. No. At the heart of people, there lies a strong desire to escape the burdens of liberty. We don't want to choose our own path. We want someone else to do it for us. We want to escape our freedom. Well, Fromm says that there are two ways that we can make this escape. We can either fuse ourselves with somebody outside of us. In other words, we can get rid of our individual self and our personal responsibility by submission to an authority figure. Or we can conform to accepted social patterns. That's to say, we can lose ourselves in the larger collective and just adopt an automaton personality. Okay, so let's explore both of these two forms of escape. So let's take submission to authority first. Actually, maybe a good place to start is with Dostoevsky, because Fromm quotes him. So in his Brothers Karamazov, Dostoevsky tells us that he who feels free in the negative sense has no more pressing need than to find someone to whom he can surrender that gift of freedom which he, unfortunate creature, was born with. In other words, like Fromm says, as anxious and powerless individuals, we look for a way to eliminate the burden of the self. And so we find someone to submit to, someone we feel is overwhelmingly stronger than we are, someone who promises order and security, but for the price of complete conformity. Okay, but let me expand on this a bit because it's crucial. So the idea here, according to Fromm, is that what most of us want deep down is we want to annihilate our individual self by becoming a part of something bigger and stronger outside of ourselves. Now, this something bigger, it can be many things. It can be an authoritarian individual, like I've been saying, but it could also be a political party or a nation or God. The point is that what we're willing to do is we're willing to surrender our own self and our integrity and our freedom for a new security, a security in a larger power that frees us from the torture of doubt and from making our own decisions, and one that we think will, in one way or another, save us. Actually, speaking of this idea of being saved, in our deference to an authority figure, Fromm says that what we see them as is as a kind of magical helper. That's to say, what we do is we endow our leader with magical or divine-like qualities, qualities that ensure that we'll be taken care of and protected, as long as we consent to absolute submission, of course. Okay. But when Fromm talks about escaping our freedom by submitting to authority, authority here doesn't have to always take the form of a person or a party. No, authority can also appear as something more anonymous. And this takes us to the second way that Fromm thinks we escape our freedom. Namely, we escape our freedom by taking refuge in public opinion and in social expectations. Fromm likens this kind of escape to animals who camouflage themselves. In other words, to animals who look so like their surroundings that you can't tell the two apart. well, so too it goes with us. What we do because we don't want to deal with the burden of our freedom is we give up our individual self and become an automaton, identical with the rest of the larger social group. Now, the benefit here is that we don't feel alone and anxious anymore. But the cost, again, is that we annihilate the self. And what does it mean exactly to take refuge in the larger public? Well, as Fromm says, it means giving up all original thinking and feeling and willing, or giving up all indigenous mental acts. Basically, this is when the content of our thinking is induced in us from the outside, and so not something thought out by us ourselves. It's when we suppress critical thinking for the comfort of stock answers or social media posts. It's when free speech gets reduced to what someone else thinks or says. And the same holds true of willing and acting too. That's to say, this is when our willing and our acting does not issue from us. It's when we allow our decisions to be suggested to us from the outside, to be determined by conformity with the expectations of others. And Fromm says that if this is how we live our life, then really what we've done is we've replaced our original self with a pseudo-self, a self reduced to nothing more than the role we're supposed to play, all of which is nothing less than the complete automization of the individual. And of course, this is all perfect for the would-be authoritarian who sits in wait with welcoming arms, because he knows that we're now fodder for manipulation and for submission. Bye for now.